All right, Dylan McKay, congratulations on winning Can You Survive Big Brother, the 17th installment in the game.
Dude, thank you.
How do you feel? One of the four
Massive
bets
relief.
got redemption. How does that feel?
Getting redemption to come back. I mean, I love these games. I love strategic games. I love watching Survivor. I haven't really watched Big Brother, but I love this kind of thing. And so having the opportunity to come back was so exciting to me because I feel like the first game I just didn't play that well.
Okay.
I feel like I wanted to just get that extra chance at coming back, using the social skills, because I feel like that's the strength that I have that I can lean on. It's just getting in socially, and it's been a really good run.
And the only individual comp you won was the finale.
Yeah, it was the only
which
one
is actually very, very odd that it usually happens.
Yeah. That is crazy. I didn't win so there was a couple of really scary moments. And right there at the end, being in that tiebreaker and not knowing what the tiebreaker challenge is going to be and being on the edge of elimination through that with Anaya, that was like a big turning point because even if I went out and Anaya came back into the game, then Vanessa wasn't even in a good place either. So like, that would have been the end of my game, and that was a real close call. There was a lot of close calls. And playing Survivor, the Survivor aspects of this definitely had me on edge in every vote out.
Okay.
As opposed to like, when you have two people on the block, if they're not you, you can kind of take a breath.
Take some relief off.
But in this game, you really are always thinking. And when you start to get a little bit comfortable, like at the end, you start to see a path, and then you got Shondell pulling out an idol or something like that. So like, it's just there's always something that freaks you out.
Yeah,
and then
you
start
three vets dominated post the failed blindside, and Shondell stopped you guys 2 times in a row.
Yeah, and
so
somehow I scathed through that.
And made it all the way to where you did Vanessa, which also you guys are the first ever couple to make it to the final 2. That is a huge achievement. Going over your game, I did tell you there were prizes, like obviously when I sent the text and everything. You have all of them. You won the game. You got the Applebee's gift card. She got the fan. No one else got any other prizes.
Oh, wow.
Because the advantages weren't used.
Crazy.
The cooler and the cake pops. So you literally got everything possible and tangible.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I do have 2 things to give you. Obviously, we have your winner's sign.
Ooh, winner of Can You Survive Big Brother? Right here.
And then, what was your thoughts on the hybrid? Is it, you think, a good love letter to both of them, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, especially being like more of a Survivor fan, it really did feel like I was playing Survivor.
Okay.
But with the luxuries of Big Brother, like the house and
For
stuff.
sure.
And like, food.
Yeah.
So that aspect was great. And then obviously there's a couple of Big Brother elements that were incorporated, like there's the random HOH, which I really liked, even though I was put on the block during that.
For sure. And the hidden power of veto.
And then the hidden power of veto, which was like a twist I didn't super pick up on during the game, but I like that element of it where the immunity idol's in here and then the power of the veto
is in there, like opposite shows.
Yeah, that was cool. And that you were banishing people to the house, which was kind of a fun concept.
Yeah.
I actually feel like the blend, I liked how it leaned into the tribes and like the Survivor voting style, but the other aspect, and maybe the challenges were maybe a little bit more elaborate than, because you have
normal
to do way more.
There are only 11 we had to do, and I think each one was very balanced and equitable almost.
I would say so. Like,
everyone
was talking about like all the like. There's that whole thing like, oh, they're physical threat.
Yeah.
I didn't win any goddamn challenges. Like,
you did really good in tug of war, which was great.
That's true. I did
and then you won with Martin, and that was about it.
That's true. Yeah. Which is which were physical challenges, but most of the challenges in that last stretch, I felt like were very fair. Were anyone would have been able to get in the right mindset and do the
100%.
And so, that being, I thought it was a really balanced element of it. Like, I feel like the game, well, obviously I won, so I feel this way about it. But I feel like it was a balanced game. Yeah, I did.
I agree.
But it really did. Having all 3 tribes each have to vote someone out the first night, so then everyone was on an even playing field going into the second day.
Not all 3 vets got to the end. You had your steamroll moment, and then Shondell stopped 2 of them.
Exactly.
Also equitable there. You had the middle game where things got a little clunky with different groups and subsidiaries. Like, it didn't feel like, even from our perspective, there was a steamroll. It seems like you did play extremely well, but I wouldn't even say like you steamrolled the season by any means.
Yeah. I felt each vote was me pulling on every possible resource
and every card you had
from
up your
scratch
sleeve.
every time with socially, just little things here and there with each person, little connections, and that would change from vote to vote. And it was just like, okay, like I've just got to scrap together each time. It never really felt like, even though the three of us maybe on paper for a segment of time looked like this really strong
running the
alliance
show
in the middle, there was so much uncertainty there because, like, obviously I tried to blindside Haley, and then when she wanted to work with me again afterward, naturally the way that situation played out, we were kind of segregated from the group, both kind of on our heels, got our way back into it, but I still never really fully knew if I'd be able to trust her because I did try to blindside
And there was
her.
a huge blow up in front of everybody.
Yeah, and a huge blow up in front of everybody. So, like, you have that element going on, so you're always still trying to kind of plant seeds wherever you can. And then, Vanessa's game was so separate from mine that at a certain point, as we were getting deeper into the merge, I was like, got to figure out how to plant some seeds to bring her into either my lines
with the vets, yeah.
And I feel like very subtly I was able to to honestly get that going. Like,
for
them
sure.
to be on board with Vanessa.
And like I said,
that was a key.
I wouldn't even say you individually steamrolled. What I would say is we had the tribes, and then I would say the vets, you and I and Haley, I feel like all pulled your own weight to get you to where you got.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, and then also, out of all the moves made, what was your most proudest move and game-changing thing that catapulted you to the end? Like the one where like, okay, I see the finish line now.
Yeah. What's weird, and I think this could be viewed differently because you could take two different perspectives on it, but when Shondell pulled out her idol in the final 5 and got rid of Haley, a lot of conversations that had happened before that, we didn't anticipate her to have that idol. So a lot of conversations that happened before that were targeting me as being the last remaining physical threat. But I had extended a hand a couple of times to Shondell earlier in the game when she felt like no one was talking to her. And I also was honest with her that I was going to vote for her. And when she pulled out that idol and she got rid of Haley, I do think you could perceive that as maybe she was just bitter at Haley. But I think my social skills and ability to, like,
swayed her enough to not select you
helped me in that moment. When I didn't foresee that she had that idol anymore at that point, it was like, okay, well now it's just whoever she picks, and if I'm the last physical threat, it'll go my way. But didn't go my way, it went Haley's way, and she attributed that to me being the only one who wanted to talk game with her. And so I feel like it was so important for me to, like, just extend, even though we couldn't work together, keep that line of communication open with everyone. And that was a moment where I was like, thank God that one morning in the room I was like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
And then thank God I was honest with her about who I was voting for because she had no bitterness towards me, and it paid off. So it wasn't, I feel like a lot of my moves were like based on other people's actions because I was able to build strong relationships. And so that they're not necessarily targeted as like, oh, Dylan specifically went and did this. The one big thing I went and did, the big blindside to Haley, failed.
And ultimately, like you even said, if it did succeed, I don't think you win.
I think if it succeeded, knowing how everything played out, my game would have been totally different. It would have gone downhill potentially. I mean, we don't really know how it would have all played out, but ultimately I ended up building my strongest alliance from that time forward with the person I tried to blindside.
Plus Anaya, the vets, which at that point, your vets are now down to 2.
Exactly. So, like, and then the flip side to that is had she not played the, hold on one sec, I was trying to think about that vote again, because there's 2 different ways that could have gone. Oh yeah, one, the fact that I tried to do that blindside and then everyone got on board with it showed me that, like, oh wow, people are really, like, actually trusting me. But if I didn't have everyone on board, if there was any more cracks at all, Haley could have not come back to me. Because really the biggest reason she came back to me is because, like, well, I have nowhere else to go if everyone else voted for me too. Like, Dylan's wounded right now too, so
which makes sense.
Yeah. So if it was a slightly more split situation, she could have looked at those cracks and been like, well, you guys didn't vote for me, and Dylan did, and the other 3 or 4 did. So I think it was actually better it wasn't even a split vote, because she might have just aligned with people who had just not fit.
And losing Brandon in the tie, I wouldn't say. I think that benefited your game. I wouldn't say it hurt it
It
at
did,
all.
and to be honest, I was actually looking to work with him at that point in the game, but unfortunately, that just But yeah, so that was just. I mean, that was a big pivotal point in the whole game. But it was one of those you obviously can't plan it to go that way.
And I'm sure when the failed blindside happened, we saw your reaction to blow up with Haley. I do not think you probably saw yourself probably getting to the end and winning. Probably during that moment, you're probably like, okay, I probably have 1 or 2.
In that moment, I was like, yeah. I felt that I didn't feel like a crazy amount of well, I didn't have a chance to think about it in the moment while she was throwing up at me. I just tried to keep my composure and be honest with her. But once we kind of started drifting off and talking, and then I got a chance to talk to everybody else in the group. Everybody, as soon as they could, wanted to pull me and tell me how pissed off they were at me. But you know what's crazy about that whole situation is that in a normal game where someone gets pissed at someone else, they just wouldn't talk to them.
No, they just burn the bridge.
So the fact
and
that Taylor pulled me, she was like, "Why did you leave me out of that?" Obviously, Vanessa pulled me. He's like, "I fucking pissed at you." Martin pulled me and was like, "You kind of left me to deal with that." And Nia pulled me. He's like, "Why did you put me in this confused situation?" I'm like, so everyone still was like, "Dylan, you kind of put us in a bad position, but we need to talk to you about it," because they still clearly wanted to work with me, which is just
and then
crazy.
All voting for Haley showed you had control.
It did.
So you knew you were like, okay, if I pivot correctly, I can still work things into my favor.
And I think it was important at that point to play into being a wounded dog with Haley, and it was important to let some other people make some decisions, take some reins, because I don't want to be seen as some mafia boss, because that's going to look bad too, because eventually we're going to turn the guy who's controlling everything, right? So it's there's an element of all of that just where you're just trying to play just enough crazy, and then make everyone feel safe and
comfortable.
And that's really, I think you said the best word. That's really my game, is just make sure everyone feels comfortable.
Come to me for anything. Don't need to go to anybody else.
And I know it doesn't make me feel comfortable. What doesn't make me feel comfortable is when people won't give me some names or say some strategy.
They're like,
and
so.
I know it sucks if someone else hears me say a name that I don't really mean, and then that gets back to that person. But you need people to feel like that their game plans and game strategy and talk is going to be something that you will actively have with them. And I think that's something I was always thinking about. What would they need to hear from me right now to feel like they could trust me as a player.
Yeah, and it ultimately worked in the end.
Yeah, I think so. I think this game played out a lot like Survivor in the sense that there's no doubt there's an element of luck towards some of the moves.
There are 100%. Any winner, I think, I do think any winner that's won, even still with you, I do not think has been 100% honest the whole game. You can't be. You really can't. Martin was a proof of that. But also, there is a slice of luck. There 100% is. For example, if Haley didn't play it, that changes everything. That's not skill related. She just had an inkling. Taylor tipped her off. That's what happened.
Yeah.
You didn't know Taylor also was going to do Brandon to make the 1-to-1 tie. There is just luck thrown into it, and stuff like that happens. We do have one more thing to give you.
Oh, cool.
And you are able to open it, read it on camera, and show us inside.
Okay. I'll read the card first. Congratulations, you beat the odds. Souls forever. Blessed by Team Fluffle Truff.
That is Kobe and mine's the Lions.
That's
right.
right.
These shirts since Big Brother 3.
Oh, no way. You're even wearing you're wearing that.
And we just signed it, and that's a cool little homage for the game. You can frame this or just keep that with you.
Yeah.
And then you also won, and it's season 17. So I thought I'd go with the second numerical number.
I started counting it right from you. Oh, cool. $700. That's freaking awesome.
Plus $100 for Applebee's.
$100
And a fan. You won all the prizes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, baby.
And the last question, if you were ever asked to return, would you like to play again?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely would play again. And I think...
And now playing again, you'll have a different way to go about things.
Environment, different thing to call back on. Two wildly different experiences between Big Brother and this. Not just in how I played, but also the way the game played out.
For sure.
I felt like you completely gave a new, unpredictable format.
Awesome.
Cool.
Congratulations, Dylan. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Okay, this is a self-operated DR. End of Big Brother. Can you survive Big Brother? And I just wanted to after having some time to think about it and just reflect on it, I just wanted to say how incredible of an experience this was. And I absolutely love playing. It was an absolute blast. And I was very, very proud of the game that I played and proud of the people I played with. And I just wanted to call out as I was reflecting on the whole experience that I felt like one thing really stuck out to me as kind of like a tip that I would give to someone who was going to play Big Brother or Survivor. That was something that I learned to live by very early on. It was something that I just kept in my head. If you're going to have a conversation with anyone in this game, make sure it ends with a name. Whether it's them telling you a name, or it's you giving them a name, or it's you saying a clear plan of a couple of names and that you're going to go figure those things out and then come back to them. There either needs to be a plan with like a very clear thing that's going to happen, or you need to be giving a name or hearing or agreeing to a name. And if you're not doing that, they're not going to know where they really stand or whether you're willing to give information. And on the flip side to that, if you ever have a conversation with someone and they're unwilling to settle on a name or unwilling to give a name at all, and they just kind of stay in this floaty place with you, can't trust them. You can't. They're not giving you any information in the game. So that was a rule that I live by in this game. I just felt like it was worth sharing. I feel like that was something that kind of came to me by the end that I felt like I wanted to talk about. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm still awake after like 3 nights of not sleeping. So hopefully we wake up tomorrow and can go to work and stuff like that and get some rest maybe the next night. But I highly recommend playing to anyone who has the opportunity. But love you guys. Also, that's my wife making noise in the background. Ooh, and look at that. Woo!